Wayne Drake Rogers is still missing. Sebastian Rogers. If you're not familiar with his name, Google his name. There's a lot of information about this case, and it's public awareness that will most likely probably solve this case because I'm not so sure about TBI and Sumner County Sheriff's anymore. My mind, I just shocked that they don't really give any updates and they don't really do anything that they're sharing with the public. No, they're not obligated to. And that's, they don't owe us anything. So we're almost at a standstill here because I said to myself on this case with me is we're not going to go down false rabbit holes just to go down false rabbit holes, and we're not just going to put out stuff out there that's just like misinformation or bogus stuff just to keep the case going. We want to try to get as factual information as possible. We want to try to understand key players with this and kind of crack at the onion to get the truth, right? We don't want to go down these like conspiracies on JLR Investigates. Probably why a lot of you people watch JLR Investigates, because we tried to stick with what's probably the most logical scenarios in the situation. But for me, it's like at this point, anything and everything is on the table. That's what I think, right? Anything and everything is on the table with this case. Two things. I talked to a former co-worker of Katie with Brinks, and I also had a conversation with Terry Bowersox. Terry Bowersox, the junior, the estranged son to the Bowersox. The estranged son to the Bowersox. I sent him a Facebook message. He asked for my number, and guess what? He called. And I appreciate his call. However, he doesn't want to be up on YouTube as far as any conversations or anything putting his face out there on YouTube. He is a semi sort of private person, but he did set the record straight because he wants to nip this in the butt because he said that people have been prying on him in the last week or so and stuff. And it's wild with Bowersox, Terry Bowersox, who is the estranged son of Terry and Catherine, right? He actually left that family 10 years ago and left the state of Tennessee. He's in Kentucky. And he wants nothing to do with that family. And I tried to, why? He says personal reasons. I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to tell you. But he does feel that Chris Proudfoot is involved. And he actually himself made a public post about Chris Proudfoot. He also told me Chris Proudfoot is a weird dude. He said the dude is a weird dude. And he said Kathy is nutty. Now, Kathy's not his mom. His dad is Terry. As we know, Chris Proudfoot, his Terry Bowersox is his stepdad. So his biological mom is Catherine. She marries this.
Let's talk about something that
Terry Bowersox, and then something happened with this family where he's using the same name. He has the same name, so it's your family lineage, your same name. You're supposed to pass the baton and you go off your father's legacy, right? But this guy wants nothing to do with his father. And that paints a picture here because we want to know why. We want to know. It could be Terry Bowersox Jr. himself, though, in fairness. It could be something on his end that we don't know about or whatever. But he definitely feels that Chris Proudfoot is guilty. He put that out there. And I'm going to show you a post that he made or a comment he made in reference to this case. And he also told me, folks, that he didn't hear about this case until just a few days ago, which is like wild. Just a few days ago. Well, this is him. This is him right here. And in this message here, he says, or in this comment, he says, this is Terry Bowersox Jr. Most likely the stepdad had something to do with it. He is a piece of trash. Very capable of hurting young children. That's what Terry Bowersox Jr. Now, he called me. This morning. Another thing, too, is we're starting to paint a picture here with the relationship between Katie and Christopher. A co-worker has told me that Katie has complained about her marriage. their marriage was on the rocks, meaning it wasn't right. Something, she was not happy, and there was a lot of friction with that relationship. And it's almost like validation, because when someone on Chris's end reached out to me, a bartender, down there at Texas Roadhouse in Alabama, where Chris used to work at a job site, kind of said the same thing on Chris's end. And, is that part of, the puzzle here, or some sort of backstory and history between Katie and Christopher? We're talking about a guy, right? A guy, Christopher, that, he looks like he's the breadwinner in that house. He looks like he's the one that makes the money, and Katie's kind of like secondary as far as money wise. Katie, she works Brinks. I don't know how much Brinks people make. Well, I would say 50, 60 a year, but I would think that Mr. Proudfoot makes more. Plus, Proudfoot has the backing of the Bowersox. They have money, folks. They have money. Katie's side of the family does not. Katie's side of the family has lots of history with drugs, and if you're struggling out there with, you can get the help and get the support. Drugs is deadly, addiction is real. But people's on Katie's end, her immediate family from Virginia, have a lot, folks, of legal problems. A lot of problems where they've been in trouble with the law, and it doesn't seem like they're a proper safety net for Katie, a support system, because they have their own issues and problems. Plus, they haven't posted anything out there to publicly support the situation. I'd be surprised if they even knew, considering that Terry Bowersox didn't, he didn't even know what was going on with this case. But here's more people that are talking about Proudfoot, Chris, and Katie, and about that relationship. And it does make sense, though Chris works, right, long jobs. But at these long jobs, he goes away for these extended periods of time. And I think it's more, not just the job itself. He's doing that, the way I'm told he's doing that, it's because he's getting away from Katie. And whatever, possibly Sebastian, because we still don't know if Chris loves Sebastian. We don't know that. I haven't seen a photograph or anything that exists with Christopher in a group family pic, right? TBI released photos of Sebastian being missing. They add one photo with Katie and Sebastian at a restaurant that wasn't taken at that night. They went to the Texas Roadhouse, by the way, but nothing else. There's other pictures of Katie out there, though, with Sebastian, but you don't see pictures of Chris Proudfoot with Sebastian. And that, to me, is a red flag. It's a red flag. So Bowersox did call me, and I appreciate that. So, I believe he's innocent. So, because there's people out there that, are throwing his name around, that's kind of why I reached out to him. But he did call me back, and I put the tweet out. He did call me back. He called me back this morning. We had a 12-minute conversation. Blocked out his number. We had a 12-minute and 40-second conversation this morning, and we talked. And he wanted to set the record straight, because he's starting to see people, put his stuff out there. There are groups out there, Facebook groups centered around this tragedy. We operate the best and the most liveliest of these Facebook groups. There's a few. I think there's 5 or 6 of them out there. Find Sebastian Rogers missing in Hendersonville. We have a big one, and I'm going to show you this. We always promote this because we are a growing Sebastian army, and we have at this point 16,600 members. We will probably be at 20,000 members within the next week. We are growing we are growing big. We're growing quickly, and our group has latest updates, including people that know these people personally. So we get the scoops, we get the insights, how we find, we get pictures, people around their house and stuff like that, seeing what they're up to. We get it all. So I strongly recommend everyone to, join that chat and share your theory and speculation. It's one of the few ways you could keep Sebastian's name out there without the case going cold over social media. I think it's up to us on social media to keep this case circulating, keep this case going, keep it in the spotlight, make sure it does not get cold. Authorities are giving a press conference tomorrow. An update on this case. There's an announcement that there's going to be an update. However, folks, this update, I don't believe is going to. I think this is going to be a nothing burger update. I think there has been a lot of pressure on law enforcement to come out with something, say something, give something, give a clue, ask, give some, I'm thinking, give a surveillance out to the public so they can be aware of what Sebastian was really wearing out there when he went missing instead of what the mother says he was wearing. And that, anything and everything that the mother says at this point, I wouldn't, you could believe some things, but I would not believe any chain of events at this point with Katie saying anything. And moving forward, she's had a lot of time to, line everything up, line the story, and, keep that story going. So, I wouldn't take anything she says for granted. And also, well, for granted, yeah, but wouldn't take anything that she says seriously, though, you should listen to every word. That's what I mean by taking by granted. We should listen because we want to see. But investigators give update in the search for missing autistic teen Sebastian Rogers. Sumner County Sheriff's Office will hold an update on Sebastian Rogers Tuesday morning, folks. Though the agency does not have any new developments to report. I don't get that. How would you know that a press conference coming out with no new developments? Did they tell everyone beforehand, well, we're having a press conference, but with no new developments? Well, what's the point of the press conference? Sumner County Sheriff's Office Deputy Craddock, who seems to be, he's the one that's kind of like the figurehead in this. He is going to hold a 11 a.m. press conference.